Nothing exists until it's under observation. And I think that sort of idea got them very interested to start studying life. Everything seems to respond in a certain way when it's under observation. Now, this has implications in coaching. You've got the spiritual, emotional, mental, and then you've got to bring it down into the physical. Light started to behave differently when it was under observation. And this is an implication in human behavior. All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the last session. We've been playing with linguistics and what we refer to as quantum linguistics, because these language patterns, when delivered properly, they do make changes to things that are not visible. They can change the way the energetic patterns, the way the outcomes of a person can be. So that's sort of the territory we're in. But when we talk about quantum, I want to shift gears a little bit. Before we come back to language, just as we end, and more sort of language stuff from practitioner, we're going to end with you all just finishing off and doing Milton model language pattern. There's some pre-existing. Why? Because we want to do that installation again. But before that, I just wanted to mention this, that somewhere in the last century, probably about 1904, 1905, the US Patent Office, I don't know if you know what patents are. Who knows what patents are? You can when you come up with some new ideas, new things, you can register a patent. And the US Patents Office, they made this declaration that everything that there is to know is known now. Can you believe it? The head of the US Patents Office wrote to Congress and said, I think you should close down the Patents Office because really everything there is to know is now known. But interestingly, around the similar time, scientists were studying light. And they noticed something very interesting with light as they were studying it. They noticed when, they were, I don't know if you guys done it at school, the slit experiment. You can put a slit through a shoebox and put light through it. And you'll notice that the light shows up on a back wall, sort of not just as light, but it could show up as bars of light and darkness. And I think that sort of idea got them very interested to start studying light. And what they found was they wanted to test whether light is a particle or a wave, because they are two different physics phenomena. A particle is a different concept to a wave. And so they were testing whether light is a particle and a wave. And funnily, when they were testing for that, they did a few different things. They put a few different slits and they put light through it. The light started to behave in a certain fashion. And particularly, light started to behave differently depending on what it was being measured for. How about that? Let me repeat that again. Light started to behave differently when it was under observation for a particular measurement. So if you were measuring it as a particle, it started to behave differently to when it was being measured as a wave or a particle. It's almost like it knew it was being observed. What does that actually mean? I don't know if anyone's done any research on quantum physics, but if you look at quantum physics, the idea that there's Newtonian physics, which would say that this is a music stand for a bar, it's solid, and that's what it is, that it's matter. But quantum physics would go to the point of saying, well, what is this made of? Atoms? Well, what's inside of atoms? Well, nothing. Atoms have nothing. It's empty. That's what quantum physics does. And one of the major premises that nothing exists until it's under observation. You think about it everything seems to respond in a certain way when it's under observation. Now, this has implications in coaching, and this is implications in human behavior. Because if you were to ask a client to record certain information before they do a certain behavior, the act of observation itself starts to create change at the quantum level. So we're going to keep it, at the moment it's going to sound a little bit woo-woo, but then we'll bring it back to practicality tomorrow. I think that's important because people get stuck in these pieces of information. They somehow never come back down to earth. Remember, Huna students, you've got the spiritual, emotional, mental, and then you've got to bring it down into the physical.